What's up, YouTube? We're back, man. Back with a tutorial. I got my man Jonathan in the chair today, and we're going to be doing a mid skin fade with wavelength on top. Right now, I'm just prepping the hair. Always make sure you prep the hair before you start cutting it. I always like to use a comb, especially when we're doing a wave cut, because it helps lift the hair before you cut it down. So I feel that's very vital versus brushing. I think when you brush the hair before you cut the top down, it just keeps that pattern locked in there, but you're able to lift the hair up off the head when you comb it. So we're going to go ahead and make our first guideline with my Andis T outliners. These are the corded ones. I like to do all my balding with these. I don't really like to use my other trimmers to bald out. So these right here are pretty much specifically for me to bald out and get the hair prepped for a bald fade. Anything that has to do with the skin, I use these first. I got these adjusted pretty well. They don't, irritate the skin. They don't, leave any redness. I think I got them pretty good, man. So yeah, so I'm just going over, clearing up this section. I like to make my guidelines and my areas that I'm going to be blending in pretty neat. So that's what we're going to do here. I just went ahead and jumped into the clip here because I usually go all the way around, but I want to show you guys the whole process of how I do it. So I'm not recording, the entire cut. I'm breaking it up so that you can see how I do it. But you see it here just going in the back. I'm dropping it just a slight bit. This is above his occipital bone, so I'm not gonna have to worry about any lines or any dark spots. It is a mid fade, kind of on the higher side of a mid fade, but I do still put like a slight drop in the back. And just make sure you're taking your time. You're not digging into the head. You're not creating irritation. Sometimes you can create irritation, and that's when you'll see those little bumps on the back of the head. So it could be one or two things. Either you're pressing a little bit too hard, or it could be that your trimmer may be a little too sharp. So I kind of like to just pay attention to what's going on and making sure I'm not pressing. Just going to go ahead now and just begin to clear out this other side right here, this other section. I know some people like to just, get in there and just begin cutting off the hair. But I like to make sure that each section is clean. And as symmetrical as possible. I try to, usually start it on the high point on both sides, right by the eyebrow, depending on what type of, fade it is. But usually I try my best to keep it even on both sides. And so that's what I'm doing here, man. Just keeping it clean as possible, getting off as much hair as possible, so that we can have a balanced haircut, man. A balanced haircut, a balanced fade. So we're about to go ahead and cut this top down. Now, this is what I want y'all to know. This right here is a 18 skip tooth. It's not a 1.5 guard. It's not a 2 guard. It's an 18 skip tooth. And the reason why I like the 18 skip tooth is because I feel personally this cuts waves down to a great length, and the way the teeth are on the blade, it allows you to run through the hair without necessarily worrying about having to cut a plug or cut a patch into somebody's waves. Now, it doesn't mean be reckless. It still means follow the pattern. But I know sometimes even when you're following the pattern of the hair, you may get those little spots where the hair may be a little curly or kind of compact, and you may cut off a little bit more than what you desire. I feel with these that this doesn't do that. This blade doesn't do that. When I found this blade and I began to use it, it really, really helped me take my wave cuts to the next level. And I'm the type of guy, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. The first person I seen use this blade was OG Walker. He was the first person that I seen use this blade, and so I didn't even know this blade existed. But I saw him use it, so I went to my local supply shop, and lo and behold, they had it. I got it, and I've been using it ever since. Now, I'll still use the 1.5 or 2 depending on the hair, depending on the person, but usually I like to start my fade off or the top with a wave cut with this 18 skip tooth, I feel it's like right in between a 1.5 and a 2. Okay, right in between a 1.5 and a 2. So it gives you that good length to still lock those waves in and keep that pattern in there without cutting it too short and without leaving it too long. All right, so just make sure you're combing the hair, brushing the hair down, following the pattern, going with the way that the hair is growing. That's very important when we're doing a wave cut. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the fade section. We're going to go ahead and start our second guideline, and I'm using the Stylecraft Instinct. These clippers are dope. They're dope. They're like my favorite pair of clippers right now. And on this pair, I have the master blade on there because these clippers actually come with the PhilthyBlendz Mod. So you're able just to swap out the vapor blade that comes on it and throw that master blade right on there, and it fits in there perfectly as long as you got the master screws. Okay, I know a lot of people get mad and they say, man, I tried to put the blade on there, it didn't work. Well, you got to make sure that you're following the instructions and you're paying attention. You have to put the master screws in there or it's not going to work for you. So we're just going up, making our first initial guideline. I got the clipper blade all the way open. I like to do like a 3-step process in this area. I open it all the way up, and then in a minute I'm going to close it halfway, and we're going to go ahead and attack that bottom guideline. Like I said, I like to make each section very clean. So as you can see, I'm not taking it higher than the second guideline I made because I'm not trying to dig into that. So just keep working at it, keep nudging at that bottom line. Halfway close, it's not going to take it all the way out, but it is going to lighten it up. So when you go back in there all the way close, which we are now, you're going to see it's going to blend right into that guard all the way open. Clip all the way open, into the clip all the way open. It's going to blend right into it. This part right here, you got to be careful that you don't dig into the hair. I like to just flick, like a flicking motion. If you can see my hand, I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on the clipper. I'm letting the clipper do its job. I think that's one thing that barbers got to learn. If you're new to the barber game, let the clipper do its job. Don't, the harder you press doesn't mean that the line's going to come out. What you're really going to do is it's a high possibility you're going to create another hard line, which is not going to come out. So we were all the way closed. As you can see, it's still a faint line there from the trimmer line. So I'm just going to take my trimmers and I'm just going to tap at that line. I'm using my Andis GTX ones to get that line out of there. I love these trimmers. I don't use these a lot, honestly. These are kind of collecting a little bit of dust. And I don't usually use these a lot, but these are a good pair of trimmers as well. Not my favorite, but they're still a good pair. I'm using them to get that bottom line out because we did actually put it in with an Andis T outliner. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my one guard on, the purple magnetic one guard, and I'm going to make my third guideline. Now, as you can see, it's very important that you follow the pattern that the hair grows, okay? His hair does not grow straight up and down, so as you can see, I'm having to use a lot of like a backhand motion to cut the hair in the direction that it's growing. Even with me brushing down, as you can see, the pattern of his hair is not going down, it's going forward, okay? It's going forward. So backhand use is perfect, okay? Now what I did, I started all the way open. Now I have it all the way closed. Now when I do the one guard open, I like to come back underneath it with it all the way closed, and I feel that this almost blends back into that all the way open. You're still gonna have a slight line from that third guideline, but we're gonna go ahead and knock that out with our half guard afterwards. But right now I'm just coming underneath the one all the way open with the one closed, and as you can see, it's blending pretty well. Once again, I'm not a guy that likes to act like I learned all this on my own. One of my favorite barbers on Instagram, one of the favorite barbers that I like to look at the way he cuts and pattern my cuts after his, is PhilthyBlendz. Shout out to PhilthyBlendz. I learned a lot just from watching his YouTube tutorials, and as you can see, I have the half guard on there now, and I start with the half guard halfway open, okay? I don't close it up all the way immediately. I start with it halfway open and then work my way down to all the way closed. I believe it's all the way closed now. And as you can see, that fade is coming together. Okay, the fade is coming together. The blend is coming out pretty nice. And these are simple steps, simple guidelines that you can follow. You have to figure out what works for you. I don't, um, change what I do. I usually do the same steps through every haircut I do, no matter the texture of hair, because that's what works for me. Now I just took it off and I got the clipper open with no guard. Okay, no guard, and I'm just tapping at that second guideline that was created from the one guard open. Remember, we did one guard open, one guard closed, half guard halfway open to half guard closed. And now I'm just tapping at that bottom line, at that faint little like dark spot, and I'm just using the corner of my blade. Okay, the teeth are not fully on the blade. I'm using the corner on the blade. All right, now I'm gonna go with the grain now, and this is the one. Okay, now this is the one guard, and I'm gonna go with the grain. As you can see, it's not cutting, so I'm gonna close it up all the way. Now, the beauty of doing this haircut with the 18 skip tooth is that when you do this with the grain, it blends right into it. Okay, it doesn't cut off too much. It doesn't, leave a big discrepancy, but it actually blends right into it. So if you do the one with the grain, you're gonna see that you can close it up and blend right into it, which is exactly what we did. So this is the one closed. Now I'm just gonna take my two guard all the way open. Okay, once again, you see that backhand motion, and I'm just riding that around the top portion of his head, and we're blending that right into the top. I'm not digging into it. I'm just knocking off that excess little bit of bulk right there, almost like in a sense debulking it. And as you can see, it's blending right into it, but there's still a line, which we're going to take care of in a minute. Now I closed it all the way up. That was a 2 open, then a 2 closed. Now I'm going to take the Andis 1.5 guard. This guard has been a game changer because Andis, for when I started cutting hair, they didn't have a 1.5 guard. We would have to use that red Speedo guide if we wanted to get a 1.5 guard. And sometimes that guard would pop off. If you guys know about the Speedo guys, you know how they don't stay on the clipper too well. But yeah, 1.5, halfway open, and then once again, same technique. We're gonna go 1.5 open, and then we're gonna go 1.5 close, and then we're just blending that line in there. As you can see, it's getting lighter. It's getting lighter. It's still a faint thing. So now I'm gonna take that 1.5 off, put my one guard back on, and I'm gonna put the one guard open. Okay. And this right here is going to tie that last section into the top. And we're going to have pretty much a complete fade, minus the detail at the end. But pretty much, as you can see, the fade is done. The fade came together. If you look at this haircut, you would say, man, this haircut wasn't that hard. It's really not that hard. It's all about learning your steps, learning what your tools do, and learning what works for you. Everybody doesn't follow the same technique. Everybody doesn't follow the same steps. But the thing that we're looking for and the thing that we're trying to achieve is a well blended haircut. Okay. Now I'm just playing with doing a little lever play right now with the one. I have it closed. Like I said, you have to learn what works for you. I'm going to close it back up again and go back with the grain just to lay it down, smooth it down so that I can see if there's any spots. Right there, I'm not really digging into the top. I'm just like floating it against it and, knocking off any little excess like weight that's on the top. Okay. But yeah, it's done. Now let's switch to the other side. And we're going to do pretty much basically the same steps here on this other side. No guard all the way open. We're going to jump into that no guard all the way open. And then we're just making that guideline, keeping the guideline as clean as possible, as even as possible. Sometimes you may have to go over it a couple of times. I know sometimes people, we're in a rush, but I feel that really, if you follow your steps and you follow your same pattern, you'll get through the haircut in a timely manner. Now we have it halfway open. This is halfway open, and once again, we're just working at that line, and we know that it's not going to take it all the way out, but these are the steps that you got to follow in order to have a well blended fade. Okay, well blended fade, and we're not going higher than that guideline. Okay, we're just working at that bottom line. I'm going to close it all the way up now, and flick at it, trying to get that first initial guideline out, that trimmer line out. Okay. Um, Another technique that we could maybe use on the trimmer guideline that I found that works for me, give you guys a little bit of free game, is that sometimes I'll make the initial trimmer guideline, and then I'll make my space with my one, well, not with the one, I'm sorry, with the clipper all the way open, and then before I begin to close the clipper up halfway and begin to attack that line, I'll go back in with the trimmer and I'll flick it up just a little bit, flick that trimmer line up just a little bit. So then I found that when I go back in with my clipper, it doesn't create that hard line. So then I'm able to just go back in. For this sake, I did it this way just because I wanted to show you guys the process and the steps that I take and not be confusing. But yeah, try it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it worked for you. I'm all about spreading knowledge, spreading information. I feel that we shouldn't be what's the word I'm looking for? We shouldn't be a reservoir, but we should be a river. We should be a river where we flow. We're able to flow and we're able to spread knowledge. But so as you can see, I'm just cleaning it up a little bit more. Didn't raise that line up, too high, but I just cleaned it up a little more. Now, once again, one guard all the way open. We're just in that, in that parietal ridge area. Once again, you see how his hair grows. You see I have to move my hand different directions and cut the hair different ways. And sometimes it's like that, man. Every haircut is not going to be the same. Every hair pattern is not going to be the same. Every hair texture is not going to be the same. So as a barber, you have to learn how to, in a sense, look at the hair before you begin to cut it so that you know exactly how to attack the hair. That's why consultation is important as well. Consultation with the client, making sure that they come in with clean hair. If not, we might have to wash their hair to see how their hair lays and get any, oil and grease or whatever they may have something in their hair to get a true picture of how the hair is laying down. Because if you cut the hair in the direction it goes, that's going to give you the best haircut. So like I say, if you look at my hand, I'm going different directions. I'm not just going straight up and down. I'm having to turn my hand backhand and sideways, and it's a lot of work, man, but it's just part of being a barber. So I had the one all the way closed right there, and I was just knocking at that line. As you can see, there's a faint line still. That's going to come out with the half guard. Now, I'm so excited that Andis is getting ready to drop these original purple magnetic guards again. I was kind of bummed out because, I had two of these things, man. And I'm going to give you a little nugget as a barber. Don't let anybody use your equipment. I had two of these things that were nice and functional. I let one of the barbers at my old shop use them, and somehow, some way, it ended up broke, both of them. So it's hard for me to blend in the corner. If you can see right there, that corner is missing. So I have to be very delicate when I'm hitting that thing in the corner so that I don't cut a plug or cut a patch in my fade, and then I'm going to have to take it higher. But yeah, man, I'm just using the corners halfway open. It's all the way closed. As you can see, that line has pretty much disappeared because we knocked it out. More than likely, sometimes you might have to go back in there with no guard, like I'm doing now, with no guard, and just flip it out. Okay. Now you might be saying, well, what happened to the rest of the fade? I forgot to charge my camera, so my camera died right after I finished that section. So I'm doing this part with my phone. So pretty much the haircut's done. I'm just doing some detail work, cleaning it up with my shears over comb. This is another technique that I learned from PhilthyBlendz. I believe he probably has the best detail work in the game. His detail work is crazy. It seems effortless. I'm not at that point yet. Sometimes it's still really hard for me to detail with these. But practice makes perfect. And the more you do it, then the more comfortable you get. But yeah, I'm just doing shear over comb right now, just getting those dark spots, getting any little areas that maybe the clipper couldn't get. And yeah, we're just blending away. We're blending away back there, and we're almost done. Now I'm going to just hit the corner. As you can see, his corner was a little light. I'm going to just hit the corner a little bit with a little enhancement, little light enhancement. I got my clutch card, and I need a new one. But yeah, here we go, man. This is the finished product. This is the finished haircut. You see that LSU poster back there. Stay on the watch for LSU this year. But yeah, this is the finished product, man. I hope y'all liked it. Do me a favor, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to be bringing you more content in the future. But I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me through this tutorial. Y'all have a blessed day. Be blessed. Be blessed. Be blessed. Peace.